go live in about 8 minutes. So we're discussing Ooh. JCTV, people meeting people, making memories. Welcome back to the lunch table. My name is Jacey David. The lunch table, pretty much, we discuss topics that pique my interest. Right now, it's just going to be a one-on-one discussion. But I call it the lunch table because when I was younger in school, the only time I felt that I could be free to communicate amongst my friends candidly was at the lunch table. So I've been working on this podcast on and off since 2018. Now it is the Lunch Table Podcast ATX. Right now we're going live for the season 3. Season 4, we're going to be back in the studio, Austin Public Studios, 1143 Northwestern Avenue. But until then, this is what we're going to be doing. Again, we discuss topics that pique my interest. Season 3, I will be working on, and just in general, not season 3, but I am on my personal growth journey. Season 3, I will be working on my empathy and my communication. Empathy and communication. There are going to be things that you are not going to agree with because I truly draw my line in the sand. And I don't want to go about it disrespectfully and brassfully, but I will draw my line in the sand and I will be firm. What we don't have to do is just because I feel a certain way and you feel a certain way, we have to just not like one another, and disrespect one another. So just in general, I'm working on empathy and communication to discuss particular topics that are sensitive, but in a diplomatic way. Still get my point across and still say what I have to say because it's all about communication. But I want to be empathetic to how one is feeling and to communicate and facilitate my thoughts adequately. So much to the point where the summer of 2024, I wrote a book called Become a Lead Star. Lead Star is an acronym, the 8 guidelines for effective communication. And I learned this back in 2008 when I was still on my journey. And I learned there is a pseudoscience to people liking you. Some people got it. Some people just got that it factor. They walk in the room, and it's a go. But for the individuals who don't have this particular skill and who would like to obtain this skill, this book is fantastic. It's a step-by-step process on what works and why it works. Lead Star, the 8 guidelines for effective communication. You can get that book. You can purchase that book right now at jctv.com. Again, jctv.com. I believe this book is for, no, I don't believe, I know it is good for teachers. It's a great resource for teachers, whether you're inside the classroom or if you are especially experiential education. If you're in experiential education, it is a fantastic resource in building communication skills and ultimately building community. If you are inside of the classroom, it is a fantastic discipline management tool. You lead with it. Like all teachers know, you have to frame how you want your class to go, but you lead with Lead Star, and then you always fall back on Lead Star. But again, you can purchase this book, JACEY, at jaceytv.com. Become a Lead Star, the 8 guidelines for effective communication. It's good for, and it's also good reading, good literature for, I would say from 6th grade all the way up. All right. It's good for adults as well. But I would say the 6th grade group is the group that would be best to grab a hold of this. I believe before that, maybe it could be too much for them, but around the 6th grade and up, it is a great read for anybody who's trying to improve their communication skills. Become a Lead Star. But yes, I'm working on my empathy and working on my communication skills so much that I wrote this book. I believe we should be authentic and say what we do and do what we say. The few topics that I will talk about today, and I don't know how it's going to go. I'm gonna try to keep it under an hour because it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The lunch table, lunch at most in school, it was never an hour. It was like 20, 25 minutes, but we're gonna keep it under an hour. The three topics that we're gonna talk about are, where's my phone? When does life begin in the female's human body? 90s point of view. I'm a 90s kid, wasn't born in the 90s, but I was raised in the 90s. Like I was fully aware of what was happening in the 90s. And just the point of view from a 90s kid is totally, it's just way different from the point of view of what today's adolescent, young adult is facing. And I would like to discuss, not really just discuss, but point out what it looked like for me, and then contrast and compare. And we're also going to talk about abortion. Again, I have a stance. I always have a stance on things, and this is going to be something that I'm going to be. I'm going to draw my line in the sand in, and I'm going to talk about it. You may not like my point of view. You may not like what I have to say, and that's okay. That's okay. But I will do it respectfully. And if I step on toes, it's not on purpose. So the first thing I want to talk about is just 90s point of view. Again, I'm a 90s kid, and things are just kind of totally different from how the culture was then, just in general. Like what was acceptable, what was I believe emotional intelligence then, contrary to popular belief, was higher. In a sense. I know right now in this day and age, it's way more acceptable for men or just in general people to talk about their feelings, mental health. That was not prevalent back in the 90s, but I believe back in the 90s, common sense was prevalent. Accountability was prevalent. Not all things were good in the 90s, not all things were bad, but the same as now. Not all things are great, not all things are bad, but some things back in the 90s were just way more simpler, like accountability. Like if you won, it was because you were good. No, not good. If you won, it's because you were better than everybody. You got the biggest trophy was because you were better than everybody. You got the biggest, you got more merch or more prizes because you won bigger than everybody. Not everybody got that, And I believe I'm kind of going on a tangent, but that everybody's equal, that only it feels works with the middle class and lower. Because other than that, like the top 2%, top 10%, they're not equal. Those words are not, that rhetoric is not spewed in the top tier individuals. I believe that is rhetoric for the lower class. We're all equal. No, we're not. If we were all equal, how do you account for the alarming disparities in skills and capacity within our society? A man is not equal to a man. A woman is not equal to a woman. If there are men out there who are way stronger than me. I'm not equal to them physically. There are men out there that are way more articulate than me, way more intelligent than me. I'm not equal to them in intelligence and in facilitation. So even within my own gender, there's no there isn't equality. So just this whole notion of we are equal. I mean, that's. I think it's. I mean, it's a huge lie and it's propaganda, um, and um, and it breeds delusion. It breeds delusion. So that's one thing. Okay, '90s. Like if you were good, it was because you were good. It was apparent that you were good. Also, another thing in the '90s, boys did not try to play girls' sports. Like boys did not try to play girls' sports in the '90s. That wasn't a thing. That's a thing now. Um, Breaking records and feeling proud, like that's a thing now. That wasn't a thing then. If you were a boy trying to enter into a female's competition, first of all, we wouldn't let that happen. But secondly, again, I'm working on my empathy. I'm trying to tell you how the times were. You'd be laughed at and you'll be called a clown and a simp because why aren't you competing with the boys? That's just what it was. That's how we saw things. Like, why aren't you competing with the boys? Do your best with the boys. Why must you compete with the girls to, have some type of advantage? Again, that is what it was. Some other things in the '90s, I would say, let's keep, on a lighter note, I miss how in the '90s it was just a handful of music companies and a handful of TV networks. So like when like a huge finale or a season opener came on, everybody knew about it. Everybody knew about it. Whether you watched it or not, you knew it was on. It was very interesting and very fun going to school the very next day and like, yo, did you watch it? So did you watch? Or did you see this? Or did you see this? And you could talk about the show in the show from the previous night in live time. That was so fun. Those days are over. I miss that. I miss how all new movies came out on Friday and Saturday. New music came out on Tuesday. Every Tuesday, new music came out. It's just like everybody knew the schedule for entertainment. Right now there's so many different streaming services, so many different networks, so many. So you can connect on a show, but it's fewer and far between. The '90s, it was really, really cool. Everybody could really hone in on what was happening in the entertainment world. Um, I, I love that it's way diverse now, and that there are more outlets. It's just those times were a little bit more simpler, and also on top of that, like Lil Wayne was huge with his pop culture references. So you can throw out a pop culture, whether it's something country, hip hop, pop, R&B, and people will get it. Football, hockey, ESPN, because everybody watched the same thing. There were only a finite amount of channels and even fewer channels that everybody watched. So it was like everybody was connected in that sense, and I do miss that time because it was you can connect with people on a multitude of shows. So those were the good old days. Last thing, oh my God. People in the '90s respected the remakes. People in the '90s respected remakes. The remakes right now, the recent remakes in the past 5-10 years, they suck. I'm not listening. I don't empathy, JC, empathy. I don't get the gender swapping. Why? I don't get the gender swapping. Why? What is the reason for the gender swapping? Is it to try to make it better? Is it another twist? My thing is, why not just make an entirely, completely different movie? Exhibit A, I was watching this. I mean, it just came on my feed. I believe they're coming out with a new Cinderella movie. And Wonder Woman and this other young young actress, they were on the red carpet, and they were talking about the movie. Uh, the younger lady, she threw shade on the old film, and she mentioned how in the old film it was a lot about this one guy who was stalking Snow White, and he saved her. And in this movie, there's not going to be a guy stalking Sleeping Beauty or Snow White, whatever the damn movie is. Is it Snow White or Sleeping Beauty? Sleeping Beauty, yeah. There's not going to be a man stalking this woman, and he's not going to save her. It's going to be something totally different, is what she was mentioning. My thing is this: if it's going to be something totally different, then make it totally different. Don't call it Sleeping Beauty, Snow White. Don't call it these things if you're going to remake it and change it completely. If it's not going to be a remake of the movie to have and have some sort of resemblance, respect to it, then don't do it. For instance, I got some stuff. 90s, Cape Fear, Robert De Niro, 1991. It was a remake from a 1962 thriller. Amazing job. Parent Trap, 1998. A reimagining of the 1961 film featuring Lindsay Lohan before, all of that. The Nutty Professor. What a fantastic remake. Eddie did a fantastic job with The Nutty Professor. Ooh, A Perfect Murder. I'm old, man. The Jungle Book, From Dusk Till Dawn. The Thomas Crown Affair. These are all amazing remakes. These are some recent remakes where the gender swapping does not work. It kind of seems like you're competing when you just change the genders and keep the name of the same, keep the name the same, the premise the same. It seems cheap, it seems lazy, and it seems like people are trying to compete, and I don't like it. Ghostbusters, 2016, the reboot of the 1984. Come on! Ocean's 8, 2018. Why they do that? I love the original remake back in 2001, I believe it was. Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Bernie Mac, James Caan, all those guys. That was an amazing remake. It was a clever movie. It was newer. It was hipper. That's how you do remakes. You just don't. It's just lazy work. It's lazy work. What women want I love Taraji. Fantastic actress. Hey, listen, baby, get your money. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a gig. But I don't like it. Gender swap. My thing. Just the remakes. The 90s remade movies very, 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 very well. It was an upgrade. It was hipper. It was faster. It was cleaner. But if you just swap genders, what does that do? That's just lazy work. So yeah, that's one of the things I'm completely against. But yeah, that's my thing on the 90s, man. That's my spiel, forgive me, on the 90s. Cat facts. This is random. What are cat facts? We've all heard of Carfax, right? You got to check the Carfax. You got to check, what's going on with the history of the car. Is what the Carfax were or are. Just the other day, I came up with. I was like, "Yo, what if women had cat facts? What if before you got involved with them, if you're on dating apps, I'm not on any dating apps, but I believe on the dating apps, I believe a woman's cat facts should be accessed. For instance, Jessica Ramirez, 5'4", 132 pounds, 23-year-old Hispanic white female dancer, mother of three baby daddies, 2 C-sections, 2 misdemeanors, 1 felony, and 5 abortions. Should a woman's Carfax be accessible? Should we know what's going on? Resume be accessible? I know it's, I don't, is it fair? Since fucking everything else is exposed, should we know her history? Cat facts. Just a thought. That was a random thought. Oh yeah. 3 questions. Listen, no, I don't give a damn. I believe Black people should have three questions that we ask to qualify befriending Caucasians. I'm gonna say it again. Black people, these are 3 questions to ask to qualify befriending Caucasians. Listen, I've been living in America long enough. There's some good white people out there. There's some good in everybody, in every culture, but it's as me, it's just different with Caucasians. The older I have gotten, I've got to be honest. The older I have gotten, the more callous I have become towards the Caucasian community. Not overtly. I'm still not really. I'm not as friendly. I don't smile with individuals no more, or even smirk. You dig? If I feel it, then I do it. But it's not my job to make anybody feel comfortable. But one of my best friends when I was younger, I had a lot of white friends growing up. Damn. No, honestly, I had a multitude of friends. In my community where I lived. First, when I was in the apartments, a lot of Black motherfuckers. Then when I moved to the home, to my first home, I was surrounded by a Black community. Then I moved to another neighborhood, white folks. So like around 10, 11, 12 is when I started to get white friends. Before that, it was just Black friends, sports, Black friends, school, Black friends. But around 10 is when, 8 to 10 is when I start having white friends. And I was very innocent then. I was very naive, and I was just willing to love. And I still am willing to love, but I didn't know. And I'm so happy I had my father who taught me, he told me the game. I didn't want to believe him, but he saw me being all just wide-eyed, bushy-tailed he just saw me being wide-eyed and bushy-tailed as a young Black boy. And he was like, yo, listen, it's different for him than it is for you. He told me it's different for him than it is for you. He told me, I remember it was 8. He said, you are going to have to work 10 times harder, well, double harder than him for the same opportunity. When you're young and you hear these things, you believe them, but you believe them because of your parents, but you just didn't see it. You don't see it. But I'm happy that he was there to tell me about it, to inform me, whether or not I saw it, or whether or not I believed him or not, that was in the air now. That information was in my head now. He sent that information. So now I can accept it or not. When I was 12 was when I first experienced a situation where a Caucasian took advantage of their situation and just lied, like bold-faced lie. That never happened to me before. Never happened to me before, where I was lied upon by an adult about a situation, and I was just thrown for a loop, because you think that the adults, their your best interest is in their minds, but it was not. Like, at the time, she was just trying to really get me in trouble. But I had a great reputation. The principal knew who I was, and nothing happened. But it was I bawled. I was 12 years old. I was bawling in that office because I was so young, so sensitive, but I was hurt. I was hurt at the lies. I didn't feel I was going to get in trouble because I knew it was true, but I was hurt. My feelings was hurt that she would do that, very young, very tender still. But yes, I said all that to say, I've become, and also over the years, good God, I don't have to talk to my Black folk, but it's different here for us. Even some of my African friends who have come over, and they said that they didn't realize that they were Black or that they were different until they got here. Like, I've got a friend from South Africa, and they were like, they didn't realize that they were different, that it was a difference in culture and skin color until they got here, because it's just thrown in the face. All we know is this. So, like, we don't know any different. But it's just kind of how this world is, or how the United States is. But yes, I said all that to say 3 questions, Black folk, 3 questions to ask to qualify befriending Caucasians. I'm not saying I have white friends, but I'm saying I've narrowed it down. I thought about this. And depending on their answer, depends on whether or not you want to move forward in the befriending. Stage 2. First question: is racism a team sport? You ask them, is racism a team sport? Don't you add anything to that question. Don't take away anything from that question. Just ask the question and motherfucking sit. They may ask you to ask, well, what do you mean? No, just repeat the motherfucking question. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Repeat the question. Is racism a team sport? That's the first question. The second question: in vetting Caucasians. Or the second question out of 3 to ask to qualifying befriending Caucasians: what is the foundational principle of white culture? The second question out of the 3 to ask to qualify befriending Caucasians: what is the foundational principle of white culture? Sit there, listen to it, and it can only be a few things. And if it's not, move accordingly. The last one: how many Black friends do you have? The third question to ask to qualify befriending Caucasians is, you ask them, how many Black friends do you have? Again, I'm not going to give the game away, because somebody's going to see this, and the answers, I can't give you those answers. The answers to those 3 questions are what should determine. Black folk ain't gotta tell you what the answers should be for you to qualify them. But those 3 questions, ask those 3. 1, is racism a team sport? 2, what is the foundational principle of white culture? 3, how many Black friends do you have? Ask those 3 questions, then move accordingly. I hold on, I'm almost out this thing. Anything else you want to talk about? Yeah. Don't don't be deceived by the enemy when they mistake your standards for judgments. I'm gonna say it again. Don't be deceived by the enemy. Don't be deceived by the enemy when they mistake your standards for judgments. Like in this day and age, it's like it's if you don't go with the flow, if you don't go with the media flow, if you go against the grain, then it's hate, then it's phobia, then it's all this made up stuff that they call you because they can't handle people disagreeing with them. And who is them? Who am I talking about? I am talking about anybody who cannot handle another person not agreeing with you, not 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 accepting, if you will, your way of life. No one has to accept your way of life. No one has to befriend your culture. No one has to hold your culture up. No one has to do that. We must respect one another though. That's what we must respect, but no one has to hold anybody's culture up and promote anybody's culture, anybody's way of life. Nobody has to do that if they don't want to. And I find that just extremely pushy. Like you can promote your side, and this goes for whomever or whatever that you're promoting. Promote it, just don't push it onto people. You did? You can promote it, but you don't push it onto people. Even like, I'm a believer, but I don't believe you should push your faith onto people. You can educate individuals. You can talk to them about your faith. You can talk to them about how much you love, why you love your faith. You can talk to people about it, but don't push it on it. Because even God, who people don't recognize, who people say don't exist, he gave us free will. Now, he gave us information. He gave us the rules of the game to follow, but he gave us free will. So if the creator gonna give me free will, give us free will, why in the hell can't the common person? Let me be free to accept or not accept. As soon as things start becoming pushy, I believe we're crossing lines. It becomes disrespectful. With anything, whether it's pushing a diet, whether it's pushing a religion, whether it's pushing anything, because God gave us free will. Why can't you? That's wild to me. God gave us free will. Why can't you? That's just no human being has the right to demand anything from any other human being. I understand in the workplace there's hierarchy, but when it comes down to just humans, no human being should demand anything from another human being. Anyway, yeah, just I have a that irks me. My standard is mistaken for judgment. It's not, it's my standard. This is what I believe in, and I'm not budging. If what you do don't fall along in what I believe in, then I don't accept it, and that's okay, and vice versa. But I'm not going to demand that you like it, demand that you prop it up, demand that you respect it, demand that you accept it. Come on, guys. We say we don't want to bully. That's bullying. Demanding and making someone hold up a lifestyle and a culture when they don't agree with it. And when you don't agree with it, you shame them. That's bullying. What the hell are we talking about here, man? But listen, people meeting, people making memories, the lunch table. Again, I'm not trying to be here too long. I'm in and I'm out. But I do want to cover before I get out of here to help promote, to help keep these things going and the wheels greased. We got money available, all right? I'm not out here asking for money. Give me money. Give me money. No, 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 no. I want you to support it because I work it, you dig? We got the PIMP, Pain is My Passport t-shirts. We got like 3 different styles, but it's something that I hold dear. Pain is my passport. You know, no pain, no gain. But I am flipping this word pimp on its head. Pain is my passport to get to a breakthrough, to push through. One must persist. One must persevere. And when one perseveres, when one persists, then they reach their breakthrough. And I've had multitude of breakthroughs in my journey, and it all comes from persistence, and not all hard work, but smart work. But yeah, pain is your passport. We got the trucker hats with the new logo. We got the green ones. We got the black ones. Yeah, man. People meeting, people making memories. And you can purchase the merch at jctv.com. Also, Become a Lead Star, the 8 Guidelines for Effective Communication. You can purchase that book also at jctv.com. That book will improve your day-to-day communications in all of your relationships. Become a Lead Star. People meeting, people making memories. My name is Jacey David, and this is the Lunch Table Podcast, ATX.